Welcome to What's New and not the real name.
But we can talk about all of the new features added in this version of Android. For example, Marshmallow brought you Doze and App Standby, and now In is bringing you Doze again. But it's so much more. The goal here is to coalesce background activity whenever the screen is off, and not necessarily when the device is stationary. So this brings Doze out of the tablet on a shelf model and into the user out and about who needs her battery scenario. So, shortly after the screen is turned off, Doze will be activated, and all network access and background jobs will be restricted into maintenance windows that happen every N minutes. But in this lighter weight mode, alarms, wake locks, and Wi-Fi scans will all happen normally, and all of the other Doze best practices still apply. Cloud messaging. Of course, this is all an extension of Doze mode, so if the device is stationary, then the marshmallow-flavored Doze will kick in.
If you're actually using your device, there's also a ton of cool new features, like 2 apps on screen at the same time. That's right, phones and tablets will support split-screen windows where 2 apps are placed right up next to one another. Now, this doesn't change the usual activity lifecycle though. There's still only one app that's resumed at a time. The other app will be paused, but not stopped, so it should be able to update with new messages and keep a video playing, for instance. There's a new Resizable activity attribute you add to your manifest entry to control how you'll work with multi-window mode, and also attributes for setting a minimum size. There's also a fancy new Launch Adjacent intent flag to hint that you'd like the launched activity to be opened alongside the current activity. And there's a little something extra for Android TV users, Picture in Picture. Now, your app can continue to run in miniature form on top of everything else. Of course, that means you should hide things that are totally unreadable in Picture-in-Picture. There's new callbacks for when you enter and leave this mode if you choose to support it, which you should, particularly for video apps out there.
So yeah, multi-window wins the day, but there are so many new features that have nothing to do with the UI, like Data Saver, which was introduced on a per-app basis a while back so that the user can specify certain apps to be Wi-Fi only and keep their data costs down. But within, we added a device-wide option. This means your app really needs to be good at not wasting data and at failing gracefully if you cannot access the network right now. So to help you, we added an API call so that you can check if your app is network restricted and maybe try a header to let the user know your app is in save data mode.
One of the most noticeable things in AndroidN, particularly for end users, is going to be the total visual redesign of notifications. Yep, all the standard templates have changed quite significantly. You'll also notice some of the features from Android Wear are being expanded upon and making their way onto other Android devices. For example, you'll be able to use remote input to send replies directly from the notification shade. You'll also be able to show the sent message history in the notification, so you always know exactly where you left the conversation. Now, grouping notifications make it a lot easier to handle multiple notifications from the same app by creating a single summary notification and then allowing users to expand it into individual, actionable, and dismissible notifications. Grouping is enabled by default on all apps, but you'll want to customize a summary notification to make for a great notification experience.
Speaking of making things great for users, encrypting your phone is a great and secure and awesome. But it does mean that you have to be around to help it boot up. So if your phone restarts while you're sleeping, your alarm clock has died as well. Direct boot will allow the device to fully wake up, to have alarms, and to receive calls. This way, users won't be stuck in alerts, and then they can put in their password when they go to use their device. But it also means that if your app handles calls or SMS messages, uses TalkBack, or triggers an alarm, you will now need to be crypto-aware, which means stated in your manifest when targeting in, and you will need to specify which files should be device encrypted or credential encrypted so that you can receive special treatment.
And speaking of special treatment, Marshmallow brought permissions requests to the user in context with runtime permissions. But for storage, taking it a step farther. Instead of having to request access to everything, apps can now request access to a specific folder, such as alarms or pictures, with full support for both internal and removable media volumes.
Also, heads up, some of your implicit broadcasts are changing. As part of our continued focus on Project Svelte, we want to make background activity even more efficient. So, All apps targeting the in that listen for connectivity action broadcasts in their manifest and rely on that to launch their process will no longer be woken, because a single network switch can result in a bazillion apps all waking up when maybe 2 of them will actually do something. And this is horrible for performance, and the time has come to fix it, because perf matters. However, if your app is already running, it can still receive this broadcast with context register receiver. But as of in plus, you will no longer be able to send or receive a new picture or new video broadcast. Instead, Job Scheduler has been extended to trigger jobs on a content provider update, which is a much better way to handle a response to a picture being taken, and which means users won't wonder why the camera app keeps freezing. Time to migrate to Job Scheduler. But if you're still afraid of Job Scheduler, just tweet me. We can chat. AndroidN also allows users to specify multiple locales in settings, which means apps can now show search results in multiple languages or avoid offering translations for languages that the user already knows. So the full list of locales for a user can be accessed via locale list get default.
So check out the links in the description for everything, and I mean everything you need to know about Android, not the real name. Not yet.